So that's my phone. Let's see how this works.
All right.
Okay. Sitting in the parking lot at the community college.
Oh, nice. I forgot, where are you in Utah?
Arizona.
Arizona. Oh, that's right. Wait, what community college are you at?
Yavapai.
Okay.
Prescott.
Nice. All right, I'm pulling up.
So I'm like just trying to get credit. So I'm taking a ceramics class.
Oh, fun.
So it starts at 5:30. So I'm sitting here in the parking lot just waiting for.
Perfect. We can get it done fast.
Yeah. The faster we can get it done, the better, because it's the last one.
Yes.
I know. I like these, but I don't like when they're sporadic like this. I'd rather like if they were every single solitary week and you knew that and you could like plan your life around it. But I hate when it's like 3 times a semester or whatever, and it's like, oh wait, I gotta do this.
Right.
Yeah. Do we just want to start and get this going?
I think so. I mean,
Okay,
Kathy, if you
we can't. She said she'd only be like 5 minutes late.
Okay. Whatever.
She was another call at 5.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
So are you guys like? Did you do your workshops yet?
We've done our first one.
Yes, and we have.
I did my first one last night.
Ooh, how was it?
I think it turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it, and I got pretty good feedback. So.
Good.
So when do you guys do your other one?
Tomorrow.
So.
Do your second one?
Yep, that'll be your second 2 hours, and then we're done with those. oh. And then it's just all the busy work and all the we haven't done any of the corrections on our like teaching or just like the portfolio because we've been so consumed with the workshop.
She can be mean.
Yeah, I haven't done any of mine either. I haven't done any of my corrections yet. You know, but I don't know if you looked at next week. There is not one new assignment for next week.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, good.
No reading, no nothing. Yeah.
Better than actually. So.
Yeah, and then I looked for the week 11,
mm-hmm.
and I think it's the same way because if you look on the grading sheet, there's nothing on the grading sheet.
Oh, yeah.
No grades for week 11. So I think we have the next 2 weeks to kind of get that under control before whatever. I know we have to do resumes and stuff like that, so I don't know.
I actually just did one.
We're all here.
Hopefully that'll just go into it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So I did my outline on the family education versus family life education versus family therapy. So my personal feelings on it, although I plan on continuing to get my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I am very grateful to have had the education in family life education, and I plan on including family life education in my practice even after I'm a fully licensed therapist. An important place for it that therapy just can't fill. And I see these as 2 different approaches to similar issues. Gosh, it's been like 20 years ago, I went to school for massage therapy. And, you know, so you look at massage therapy versus chiropractic care, and it's kind of the same thing as family life education versus family therapy. they complement each other, they work together. You're not going to have a chiropractor that's going to do massage. It's a totally, it takes different skill set. You can't just say just because you're a chiropractor that you could be a massage therapist. It's a different idea, and I think that's the same thing as saying just because you're a family therapist doesn't mean that you could be a family life educator without that additional education. So I wrote down, information on Dwordy's 5 levels of family involvement model. The first level is minimal emphasis on families. And I don't know who would actually do this. Focuses on the material or the institution, not on the needs of the family. And there's no real desire in this level for change. It's like giving information, but not really expecting anything from that. So level 2 is information and advice. That's mostly lecture, limited in the depth and involvement by it's just really just like you're going to give that information and not really expect anything back. That would also be, in my opinion, it would give limited change. Level 3 is feelings and support. And in Dwordy's estimation, that was the main working level for family life education. It included some participant involvement, being careful to avoid deep or negative past experiences. So it was still holding back and not really completely engaging. And then level 4 was brief focused intervention, which required, in his opinion, required special training or experience, and he felt like it should be limited to just 1 or 2 conversations, and that it definitely should be limited to parenting issues only, so only things that were directly related to parenting. And then level 5 he felt was family therapy, which is outside the scope of family life education, and that was dealing with pathology or major life issues and he considered it to be superior to all of the other levels. So in his mind, a family therapist was more important to a family than a family life educator, and that family therapists could teach family life educators how to be level 4. And so he did assume that family therapists would automatically just have family life education skills. And then the NCFR's concept of family life education versus family therapy is, in my estimation, it's considerably different. Family life education is not subordinate to family therapy. It is kind of a whole different animal, just like I said with the marriage or with the massage therapy and the chiropractor. They can go hand in hand and they can overlap and they kind of need each other, but you need to be trained to fill the role of family life educator independently. So the NCFR focuses on the 10 is of family life education, being families and individuals in social contexts, internal dynamics of families, human growth and development across the lifespan, human sexuality, interpersonal relationships, parenting, education and guidance, family resource management, family law and public policy, and professional ethics and practice, and family life education methodology. So they acknowledge that family life education is that a lot of different personal relationships, work together, and then family life education is focused on the present and the future, whereas family therapy also looks at the past and at pathology. So that's me. Who's next?
can go. So okay. I did chapter 3. And it was what is vision, and I kind of went like workshops with their visions for our workshop. Our vision statements are shared sessions of program staff. They want the program to accomplish on an end result. Shared vision is essentially the answer to the question, what do you want to make? And so, in the textbook talked about how, and I really like how unite in a common cause. They begin to share their vision with each other. There are often a lot of surprises. Each person has a different vision. While the person may think that the group is doing what they are doing in order to help people in the community break the cycle of poverty, a colleague involved in the same program may see the central purpose as arming citizens with a clear sense of purpose. And another person might say, may see that the core cause is to strengthen family bonds and communication. And so everyone kind of just like has different kind of goals and visions of what they want to get out of the workshop and what they want their participants and the individuals that do come, what they want them to get out of it. And so, like I said, like Megan and I just did a workshop, our first workshop last week, and we were partners during the experience. And I really liked being able to work with Megan because we kind of had the same vision of helping married and engaged couples continue to nurture and develop their relationships with strong communication and other important skills. And we both worked really well together, and we had that common ground. And our collaborations just went hand in hand with one another. And it made us kind of like a perfect match on our vision. And that usually doesn't happen all the time, but with like certain people. But I just felt like me and Megan were able to collaborate ideas off of each other. And it was just a great and positive experience. And then I wrote, just like I said, in many cases, visions can also be positive experiences, because it was talking about how negative they usually can be. Each person has his or her own ideas, and it can create new and different perspectives and make your ideas and visions that much bigger and better. And it helps enrich and be more unified and support upon your decisions. And so when you do have a couple people working at something, whatever project it is, it's great to bounce ideas off of each other and be able to share ideas, because that can create new ones or better improved ones. And then I talked about the 5-tiered approach to program evaluation, just because I feel like evaluation is very important when, like, after a workshop, to be able to evaluate on how you did personally, as well as others having to evaluate on you and what you can improve to do for your next workshop or another workshop that you do in life. I know when I've done little parenting classes, I've just done like 2 little classes where I've taught people, and I just noticed when I do get feedback and I do get those evaluations from others and I evaluate myself, it really helps me want to improve and see what maybe I could do better in certain areas. And so the model that it was talked about, it had 5-tiered, it was a 5-tiered approach, and the first one was the pre-implementation tier, and it's a community assessment. It's conducted to establish fit between the community, what the community needs, and then creating a program that will fit into to their needs to help them. The accountability tier is number 2, and it's includes the systematic collection of client-specific service utilization data. So it answers the question, like, who is getting what services. The third one is the program clarification tier, and that's program staff and their participants provide the necessary feedback on how to improve the program content and delivery. This includes the goals of the program as well as the objectives. So that answers like the question, how can we do a better job at serving our clients? The fourth one is the progress toward objectives tier, and that answers the question, what participants achieved, which of these approximate objectives, or are there differential, I can't say that, are there differential program effects based on participants' ages, races, or opinions, which I feel like needs to be definitely looked at when doing those, because everyone does have different opinions and you don't want to offend others or make someone uncomfortable. And then the fifth one was the program impact tier, and that's the most demanding and rigorous. And random assignment of participants to treatment and delay treatment groups, longitudinal data collection, and complex analysis. So I think that's just kind of getting it all together and looking at treatment plans just depending on whatever the situation or the program was. But yeah, that was basically mine.
I can go next. Here's good, Ashley. I kind of did mine on the goals also. So I did mine on creating goals and then ethics. So the goals part, I just pretty much said that it's important to consider what you want out of the program, what you hope for the audience, and what points you would like to get across. And I said that when working with a partner, the goals need to be unified, incorporating both individuals' thoughts and ideas. And I also talked about, Ashley, and my experience with our workshops and how we've done really pretty well with unified goals. I discussed how without unity, goals and objectives might be lost. And I kind of talked about how if like your goals are going in opposite directions, either it's going to benefit one person's goals or it's not going to benefit either. And so it's just better to have that unification. Then the ethics part, I just discussed how ethics are essential to the FLE program because it's so easy for educators to step beyond their limits, which would then create more issues than before, like giving advice that's just not appropriate or whatever. And I think this was in the appendix, and it talked about 3 different types of different aspects of relational ethics, principles, approach, and virtue ethics. Relational ethics, it is important to remember that interactions with participants need to be professional and you need to remember your limits. For the principles approach, the principles need to fit the needs of the audience, and the needs need to be appropriate the principles need to be appropriate and relatable. I mean, if they're not relatable or appropriate, then people aren't going to obviously find that relation between them and what you're teaching. Also, for virtue ethics, virtue ethics is like disposition and qualities of the educator, and the educator should be considerate and welfare of the family, and they should be realistic in their teachings, and they should also be optimistic and hopeful for the participants and their program. So that's pretty much what I talked about. So that's about it.
Okay. Sorry that I've been like looking sideways. I'm painting somebody's nails for one of my other classes, so I'm kind of tasking. But let me go ahead and go through my outline. Okay, so I talked about program evaluation, ethics and also the distinction between education and therapy. So for program evaluation, I talked about that there is more than one set way to evaluate a program, and that evaluations normally should not be complicated and ambitious because they will not be as effective in gathering needed information. I also talked about how each evaluation of each program should be specifically designed according to that program. And it's also important to learn as much as possible about the program and those who are involved in it before designing the evaluation program. It's also important to design the evaluation program in a way that will allow it to effectively reach stakeholders. And then for ethics and practice, ethics are something that can and should be developed into becoming habit. Our ethics will normally determine how we behave, and that will demonstrate our character. Ethics are not set in stone because they are continuously changing and evolving. Just like the needs of the family, the individual, and society change. Just like the needs of the family, the individual, and society change, ethics must change also. The main purpose of ethics is to maintain a professional outlook and way of thinking, and they also create an attitude of respect and consideration for all. So that was something I was thinking about as far as like the workshops go. We have to be super careful because obviously there's certain ethics we have to follow, and like for me, I'm gonna have a few friends at my workshops, so I'll just have to make sure I maintain that professional attitude because it really can change the whole atmosphere of the workshop. And that's kind of something I was thinking about as I was reading about ethics. And also the main categories of ethics for family life educators include relationships with parents and families, relationships with children and youth, relationships with colleagues and the profession, and relationships with community society. And then for the distinction between education and therapy, I again talked about the different levels of family involvement for family life educators. So I talked about minimal emphasis on family being the first one, which is when educators only get involved with the family when absolutely necessary. Second level is more like classroom education, just a lot of information and advice. And the third level is feelings and support, which is when emotional feelings and awareness are a much stronger focus during interactions between the family and the educators. And then the fourth level is brief focused intervention, which is the application of the family systems theory. And then the fifth level is family therapy, which is clearly therapy focused and is the level at which family life education has become therapy instead of just education. So that's mine.
All right, so I guess that's it, right? So I'll post this and then on the discussion board, and then we'll be good. So,
Okay.
All right.
good. That was easy.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
You too. See you guys.
Bye.